I started looking into some other religions for a couple days and a couple weeks even. But yeah, the more and more I started reading, the more I was like, yeah, Islam is the truth. Islam is the only truth. And alhamdulillah.
So what was the main thing that convinced you that Islam is 100% the truth? That this is it. This must be the truth.
When people ask me the question nowadays, like what really made you realize that Islam is the truth, I always say two things. One is the creation in and of itself, the universe around us, the fact that we have so many different creatures, you know, animals here. We have, if you plant a seed, it will grow into a tree with different fruits. We live in a universe that is endless, a universe that is unlimited, how huge and how long it is, at least for what we can observe. We are just a tiny dot in the universe floating around. If you look at the perfection of the creation, the purpose of the creation and the intelligence around it, then I really realized that there must be something behind that, a creator. If there is a creation, there must be a creator. And I think, on the other hand, the second thing that made me really convinced that Islam is the truth is the societal aspect. So I was seeing, when I was younger, I grew up in the West, I saw these people being lost, following their desires. I mean, especially nowadays with social media, for example. A lot of people disagree with each other, different opinions, even within households itself. The mother believes in one thing, the father believes in the other thing. You have two children that have complete other beliefs about life. It's really separate, really individual. People are just following their desires and their ego. So who is determining the rules? Who is determining what is good and bad? And then I really saw, and this was something that I realized pretty early in my life from observing the Muslims, is I realized that if you have rules or a book that is coming from something higher and you believe in it all together, then society is much more peaceful. I saw that the Muslims were so united. If there was a problem in their family, they were not arguing and fighting. No, they were like, okay, let's look at the Sunnah, let's look at the Quran. And then I was like, wow, that's beautiful, right? There are just rules that we are living by, and that brings so much more peace. I mean, sometimes boundaries and rules are much better than freedom, because freedom will let you follow your desires blindly. I remember someone when I was younger, when I started to get more interested in Islam, he said, if there's no God in your life, then your ego becomes God. So you start following your desires. But in Islam, we learn that following your desires and the temptations, it's coming from shaitan. Maybe it feels good right now in the moment to follow your temptations and your desires, but eventually it will lead to destruction. That's why gambling is haram in Islam. That's why alcohol is haram in Islam. You know, zina is haram in Islam. All these kinds of things. If you look at the consequences of following your desires and these aspects, it makes complete sense. And that's what I mean with Islam. Islam is the only religion that really, really stands for its beliefs and puts a boundary at, like, we don't do this. We stand for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what God has commanded us. And I didn't find any religion on this planet Earth that had such high level of faith and discipline and structure. Alhamdulillah.
And how did you finally take your Shahada? What made you just take this final step? And how did you feel when you took your Shahada?
I went through a journey of asking a lot of critical questions about Islam for years. I've joined 2 Ramadans before I reverted. I knew 4 surahs before I reverted. I knew how to pray before I reverted. I was constantly asking these critical questions, like I said. So I wanted to know everything. I wanted to really be convinced of that there is no fault in it or anything like that. So at some point, I understood everything. I was going to my barber. I remember I was at my barber. I was saying like, hey, isn't it prayer time? It's like duhur right now, right? He was like, yes, but he was like, are you Muslim already? I said,